What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. Excuse me. You have your normal 4 Friday hosts. You have myself, Alpha Dog Bets. You have JD from Line Movers. We have Jammer Bets from Jammer Bets, and we have Ben from We Beat the Spread. Fellas, I feel like we haven't been on all together in a while. It's nice to have all you guys here. Maybe we were last Friday, and I'm just blanking, but it's nice to be back on with all the boys. Jammer, that's right. You were on vacation. We did call that out last week. I hope you did enjoy. We'll start with you. How was your vacation? And welcome back to the show.
Oh, man, vacation was great. Florida's a lot different than the snow that we're dealing with here in Pittsburgh today. So, I enjoyed it while I could. So we're back.
Glad you enjoyed. You deserve it. New haircut. Looking good over there. Looking fresh. Jammer is ready to go. We love to see it. Looking good. JD, how are you today, my friend? I know you're coming in off one of your biggest days since I could remember. So congratulations on that, and good to have you today as always. How are you today?
Yes, man. I am actually doing very good. Yes, man. I feel like I've actually been on the right side of plays for the past couple of weeks, and just stuff hasn't really been hitting, man. But finally last night, like everything did. So, yeah, man.
We love to hear that. JD, always winning. We all know you're on your college football heater. What's the run you're on right now?
12-2.
12-2. And we're just getting into the college football playoffs, so we're excited to hear what you have on that. We did yesterday, but you're hot in football, so we're excited to get your NFL takes today. Ben, last one I haven't gone to, facing the other way. How are you today?
I was facing the other way because this weekend I made a purchase and I forgot I put it up there. It's a Michael Bisping signed UFC glove, and I completely forgot I had it there until it was covering my sign. I was like, what's going on up there? But yesterday, just a little cool thing. But yesterday, did pretty good. Hit my max play on Magic plus 6.5 by the hook. Love winning by the hook, so that was fun. Liked that one. Didn't hit on the Broncos, but pretty good day overall. So
there we go. Well, we kind of alluded to it a little early, but you guys know what we do on this show. We always go into our recap and talk about how we did. So let's go into our Thursday recap. I will go first. I had about an even day. The Broncos kind of screwed me there. They really were in control of that game, and they absolutely shit the bed. There's no other way to put it. It was quite a disappointing game from the Broncos, at least quite the disappointing second half, especially when we talked about it on the show yesterday, JD, about how this Chargers team seems to have been playing some good first halves, and then they've been having some bad second halves. Well, yesterday, they completely flipped that script. They had a good performance in the second half. And Justin Herbert, I mean, we have to talk about that throw he made going cross-body, lobbing it in the end zone. That was one of the best throws I've seen in a very long time. Good for the Chargers. It's a good story. And overall, I went about even on the day, slightly positive with NBA. We had that big win in the Knicks game. I believe Karl-Anthony Towns dropped 700 points and 700 rebounds. The Knicks ended up winning outright. So Hefe's big play yesterday in Best Bets did come to a hit. I was also on that as well. So about even a little bit up for me. JD, we all know how you did, but refresh us. Tell us again how you did yesterday.
Yeah. Far as the Broncos game, man, yeah, they were sitting so well there, and then they just beat themselves, man. They just really did. But then besides that, yeah, I actually won everything else. Far as in the NBA, I played the Jazz game over. You should just be basically blindly doing that.
Yeah.
Now, currently, yeah, man, I had a hockey play and actually that was the free play, and that one went actually over also. And yeah, I think there was something else too, but yeah.
And you guys, if you want to see how JD did in full, see all the units he won yesterday, make sure you take advantage of getting inside the Moneyball Metrics Discord. You can see everything in there. Jammer's been posting a ton of winners. Unfortunately, there's no UFC for Ben this weekend, but I'm sure he'll be in there giving some football picks to compensate for no UFC. So get in there. We're all in there giving out a ton of free picks. It's a ton of fun to be in the Moneyball Metrics Discord. Jammer, over to you.
So we went even in the NFL. I was on the Chargers. The -2.5.
Good read.
Crazy game from Justin Herbert. I've been saying he's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in this league. We saw him put on a show last night. Unfortunately, I was on the first half under. Watching Bo Nix drive up and down the field was just absolutely killer. I think it was 3 straight drives. They finished off the first half with touchdowns. So that was rough there, but we split there. NBA was tough, though. 0-3 reverse sweep there, but we've won 4 of our last 5 cards in the NBA, so, you give and you take from the books.
Absolutely.
We'll get it back.
Absolutely. We always have those days every now and then, but you usually are dominating in the Discord. I see your cards in
Oh,
there
yeah.
all the time. So we all know what you do and how talented you are in multiple sports. Fellas, we're about to dive into a beautiful slate. It is week 16 of NFL action. The NFL is starting to wind down. We're starting to see what teams will make the playoffs, what teams are on the outside looking in. You guys ready to break down this week's 5-pack?
Of course.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, boys. We're going to go right over to the NFL. As you guys know, Friday is our NFL show, so we're going to start breaking down the 5 games that we have for you guys. Give me 1 second here to get the game up. And here we go. First game.
I do have a question, though.
Yes, Jammer.
Isn't there something? I know I wasn't here last week.
You beat me to it.
Wasn't there?
You beat me to it.
Yeah,
I was going to do it at the end of the show. We'll do it at the beginning of the show.
We ended the show, guys, now.
We're going to kick all you guys out, to be honest. I did forget about it. I talked about it with JD right before the show, and I forgot. So get out of here. You get out of here. You want to stay? You get out of here. All right, now I have to find this stupid thing. Buck, 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 buck. All right, let's get everyone back here. That was very rare.
We haven't seen that in a while.
Very rare. It's been 7 weeks since I've done it. I, kind of forgot how to do it, so it took me a minute to get back into it. But hopefully that'll be the last time I do it for this NFL season.
Ben, you know how good it feels not being the one having to do that?
Yep, we gave you the week off, and unfortunately your losing ways got passed over to me. So thank you so much for that, Ben. Now we're going to start moving over, and let's start breaking down this weekend's NFL slate. First game we're breaking down is going to be the first game on Saturday, guys. The Texans versus the Chiefs. I don't know about you, but when I look at the schedule and I see we have Saturday football, there is nothing better than that, knowing we have a full weekend on top of the college football playoffs. Let's dive right in. Texans are coming into this game, guys, 9-5 on the year. They're 4-3 on the road. Going into Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs, who are 13-1 overall and 7-0 at home. Chiefs, first place in the NFL. They're doing what the Chiefs tend to do. They haven't really been talked about that much because I guess people just expect the Chiefs to do that, and they haven't been putting up huge offensive numbers, but it's still the Chiefs. They still win ball games, and they're still the 2-time defending champions. Guys, let's go over to the injury report, and the big one to me is that there is a return on the Kansas City side. Hollywood Brown is back for the Chiefs. He will be active. He is going to play. And we've been waiting for this all year long. I think all NFL fans have been excited to see a guy with pure speed back in Kansas City, very similar to Tyreek Hill. Will he have that same effect? We all know that Patrick Mahomes can throw the deep ball better than anybody else. He's the best quarterback, I think, in history. And now he's getting one of the best pure speed receivers in the NFL back into the fold. Partnering him with Hopkins, I think, is going to be a very deadly combination. Jammer, let's start with you. What do you like in the Texans Chiefs?
Yes, I know you said that people are excited for these Saturday games, but I know the Steeler fans are not with our 10 game or three games in 10 days. But this is probably the most exciting game for me on Saturday. I know it might come as a surprise, but I'm excited to see the Chiefs lose, man. They are finally going to be facing some real competition. Their last 4 games have been Cleveland, the Chargers, beat up Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Carolina Panthers. And whenever we see this Chiefs team play some real competition, they either lose in the Buffalo Bills game or they have a really, really close one that they'll just pull one, like out of their ass with the blocked field goal at the end of the game, or maybe it's a fumble, or some magical way that the Chiefs pull it out. But I just don't see it this week. We've obviously talked about the health of this Kansas City Chiefs team. But we got to watch out for Patrick Mahomes and that ankle, the health of his offensive line. They haven't been able to keep him off the ground in the last couple of weeks. And, you're adding on that ankle injury with him. I don't know how much time he's going to have to get those deep balls out there to Hollywood Brown. It's probably going to be a lot of dink and dunk to the running back, a lot to Travis Kelce across the middle. But this Houston Texans, man, they got a tough defense. I'm gonna have to say that they have a top 10 defense in the league. And whenever they can get this offense going, they might even have a top 5, top 10 offense if they can get Joe Mixon and Nico Collins going. I know it all rides on the shoulders of C.J. Stroud, and he definitely has that leadership personality that he could take that leap to being a top 10, top 5 quarterback, but we really haven't seen it lately. And I think that this could be the game that kind of elevates him and elevates that excitement for the team, getting them ready for the playoffs. So I'm all over the Texans here. I'm taking them plus 3.5, and I'll definitely be throwing some sprinkles there on the money line for sure.
Jammer, you've been crushing your props on this show. Any props on this game before I move off you?
Ooh, I mean, I'll probably go Nico Collins anytime touchdown. I don't know what they got that at. It's probably going to be around plus 110, somewhere around there.
Plus 150. Plus 150.
Yep. We're all over that. Give me Nico Collins plus 150.
I'll jump in here next. I asked
really
the
good price.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think the price on touchdowns in this game is a little off for a ton of the guys. One prop I am playing, I'm going to start with this, is going to be Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. If you guys look at Joe Mixon's odds to score every single week, he's been roughly in that minus 180 to minus 200 range every single week this year. This week he's at a minus 130, and that's because the Chiefs have a very good run defense. However, I do think we will see them in the red zone. I do think we will see Stroud take a couple chances in the end zone. If they catch any penalties, they get a 1st and goal at the 1 yard line. Who's stopping Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon does have 13 total touchdowns this year, 11 rushing, 2 receiving. I think that he will be a huge factor in this game. I'm also on the Texans in this game as well. I think this one is going to be a little bit similar to last night. It's about the same total. Last night's total was a 41.5. This one's ranging around the 41.5 to 42 even. I do think that we will have points in this game as well, similar to last night. I don't think it's going to be a game that has, 55, 60 points in it like we potentially saw last night. But I do think we will see this game go a little bit over the total. We will see touchdowns, and the Texans will compete in this game. They get in the red zone. They're giving the ball to Joe Mixon, and I do think he will pound it in. So minus 130 with Joe Mixon anytime touchdown is my favorite play out of anything on this game. But on a side, I'm definitely taking the Texans as well at the plus 3.5. One more prop I like in this game, because you guys know I like some value props here. I am going to also take Hollywood Brown to find the end zone. I think the price is insane. I know it's his first game back, but at plus 600, when this guy was brought in to be the main weapon for Patrick Mahomes in the preseason, I think he will get a couple shots in there. I think they will let him run some deep routes, and if Patty can lead him perfectly, he will find the end zone. So at plus 600, I'm also taking a shot on Hollywood Brown. Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting angle is this game that the Chiefs finally broke their against the spread losing streak, and they covered last week against the Browns in another famous Jameis Winston performance. Where they just couldn't move the ball. The Chiefs defense looked great, but I think this is a good matchup against the Texans. And like Jammer brought up, a lot of the times when we're seeing the Chiefs play these tough teams, it's a very, very close win or a loss like they did against the Bills, which I know was their only loss this season. But the Texans, I saw someone comment Stroud doesn't look like himself, but they've still been getting it done except for that Tennessee game. And I think this is kind of a game he can get up for because they haven't faced that tough of a strength of schedule the last 4 games. But when you look back at their games against good teams, a 3-point loss to Detroit, a 2-point loss to Green Bay, and then they beat Buffalo earlier in the season. That's like their last 3 games against good teams that we would call them. So they've played very, very competitive in these big games, and we continue to see the Chiefs not continue to cover. So I do think the Chiefs probably pull it out by some last-second field goal, but that would mean that the Texans cover this game. So I'm going to take the Texans plus 3.5. I just think that Hollywood Brown, I wouldn't hate seeing him find the end zone, but I just don't know how much of a factor he's going to actually be in this game. How much are you going to actually going into the playoffs? You're 13-1. How much are you going to actually give him, a real chance in this game, snap wise? Like I feel like we won't see him at 100%. Just because why would you risk that with a guy coming off an injury in the position you're in, looking at the playoffs? So him and Pacheco, to be honest, because we haven't even seen him be a workhorse yet. So I think they're kind of doing the same thing with him, just kind of keeping them steady and going for the playoffs without giving them too big of a role. So Texans plus 3.5 for me.
Before I let you off as well, we have a great comment from Joe in the comments. What do you think about this D-Hop revenge game? He likes his receptions. Before I let Ben speak on this, I'll talk about this. So I do article plays for a website called Oddspedia. The article I did this week was on this game, and my number one prop in this game for that article earlier in the week was D-Hop over 3.5. I can go over everything because I just wrote the full article on this. He's cashed this in 4 consecutive games. He has been the lead target in that offense, and I do think with Hollywood Brown back, it will alleviate some of the coverage that will be on D-Hop. Over 3.5 is by far a great prop on D-Hop. I'm on that as well. It's my VIP. So, Joe, I'm reading it the same way you are. I do think D-Hop will get at least 4 catches in this game. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because his average is 11 yards and he's at 39.5. So it's kind of a yards versus receptions kind of thing. I don't hate either, to be honest. I think you could stack them. I do think this is more of a DeAndre Hopkins game, especially with Brown coming back. Like you said, kind of alleviating some of that pressure off him. And then Pacheco bringing the run game back. Like I think you're going to start seeing his receivers, especially Hopkins with the hands he has, open up a little bit more, because earlier in the season with Pacheco out and Hunt not doing that well, they were just able to drop coverage back every time. And with that non-existent run game, it was kind of locking up the receivers. Now that you have Pacheco back, you kind of have Hunt playing a little bit better, because I think he's on the hot seat now and he knows it. He wants kind of a role in the playoffs. So he's actually played more competitive as well the last few games. Now you have a real run game going. So I think that's kind of opening it up for those receivers, including Hopkins. So I actually like both 39.5 yards and the 3.5 receptions.
There we go. Jammer, before we go to JD to break down this question and his pick on the game, back over to you. What do you think of D-Hop receptions?
So usually I'm not big on the whole revenge game, but I faded Cat yesterday in his revenge game, and we all saw what he did. So I think I'm all over the revenge factor here. So yeah, give me everything D-Hop.
JD, first on D-Hop, then on the game.
As far as receptions, I don't mind it. But looking at his touchdown, though, he's at a plus 260 to a score, and I actually think I like that a little bit more.
I think there's value there as well. I mean, He probably he's going to have Stingley on him, who's been pretty damn good, but Stingley's going to have to rotate. He may have to drop back on a deep Hollywood Brown run. He may have to go over and help with Travis Kelce, which could free up D-Hop. So I absolutely do think there's value on that plus 260. Now on to the game. What do you like about this one, JD?
I am going to keep this one really quick. During this week, you actually could have got the Chiefs at a plus 2.5. Now the line is completely flipped, and they're at actually minus 3.5 now. So as far as the Chiefs side, I just cannot touch that. And then, because of what Joe is actually saying here, the Texans side, I honestly want nothing to actually do there. So actually, like fresh me, this is a very, very easy pass.
I respect that.
As far as
JD, wait. I got the thing.
Yeah, okay.
We haven't done it in too long, JD. We haven't done it in too long. But sometimes the best play on a game is no play. Please continue. I apologize.
But as far as another touchdown score, give me actually Dalton Schultz.
Okay.
Give me actually him to score at a plus 390.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of high value touchdown props in this game. I said it right off the rip.
Really are.
Joe Mixon at a minus 130. We haven't seen that a single time this season, especially for somebody who scored the ball as many times as him. Taking a look at the touchdown props here, he's the only guy in the minus at minus 130. After him is Pacheco at plus 120, then it's Kelce at plus 140, and then it's Nico at plus 150. So if you think there's going to be a single passing touchdown in this game, you could take any receiver and make money, because they're all going to be plus money if it hits. So interesting that the odds are like that. I'm guessing they think this is going to be a very, very low-scoring game. I don't read it that way.
Oh, no.
I think there's going to be points in this game, so I wouldn't take it for that, and I definitely think there's some value on the board in touchdowns, and I think all the guys here agree. That's why we're taking a bunch of props here. Let's keep it moving, fellas, to the next game we have on the slate, which is going to be the second Saturday game. Little do I need to say on this game, but there is somebody on this stage right now who will have a lot, I hope, to say on this game. We have the Pittsburgh Jammers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Jammers are 10-4 on the year with a 5-3 road record. The Ravens are 9-5 on the year with a 4-2 home record. Let's go over and take a look at the injuries. A couple players on the Steelers have the injury designation, and then, of course, there's a couple big-name guys that will not be playing. George Pickens, yet again, has already been ruled out. Justin Fields has been ruled out as well. Deshaun Elliott, one of the safeties, is doubtful, and then two questionables that they have are Dante Jackson, a corner, and Larry Ogunjobi, one of their better defensive tackles for the Ravens. Few injuries for them as well. Odafe Owe, one of their better linebackers, is questionable. Jalen Armour Davis, as well as Deontay Johnson, have been ruled out. And by the way, the whole Deontay Johnson thing with the Ravens makes absolutely no sense, but he's been ruled out for, I guess, attitude issues, whatever. Then they have two receivers that are both truly questionable, Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman. I read something this morning that Bateman's not going to be able to go. He's still in a full walking boot, but they're not announcing that yet. So he hasn't practiced. He's still in a boot. I don't expect to see Bateman in this game. All that being said, we go over to Jammer. What do you got?
So, I spoke on it earlier. I said that the Chiefs-Texans game is the one that I'm more excited for, because I think I'm in the same boat as all the Steeler fans. We are not excited for this game. We've already got the playoffs clinched. If we win this game, we basically lock up the division. Ravens can't pass us. But there's still a chance that we win the division even with a loss here, which I'm fully expecting. I know that you guys all expect me to come in here and say Steelers are winning this, they're covering this. I'm thinking that we lose this game by double digits. I know that might come as a surprise, but I'm telling you, man, like losing George Pickens, TJ Watt is hobbling around. I know he has no injury designation, but he's not going to be 100%. He might not even be 75% for this game. And we all know how the AFC North goes. They are physical games. And the fact that Justin Fields is out too, that puts another scare in the back of my mind with, what if Russell Wilson gets, a late hit or a low hit on the quarterback. So, I mean, the AFC North is just one of those rough games where the refs might just let them play it out. We saw how Darnell Washington was with Darius Slay last week. That's what we fully expect in the AFC North game with maybe offsetting penalties there instead of, 2 on the Steelers. So for me, the only play that I'm looking at here is wide receiver 1 for the Steelers, and that's Pat Freiermuth. They're going to be eyeing him up in the middle of the field. He's probably going to be Russell Wilson's number 1 target because you can't trust Van Jefferson. Calvin Austin's a little too small for some of these physical defensive backs that the Ravens have. I know that they have one of the worst pass defenses in the league, but it's not going to be tough to stop Pittsburgh Steelers offense whenever my guy Najee Harris is running for, I think he had like less than 20 yards last week. We've seen his rushing prop drop consistently for the last 4 games. I know he doesn't have a contract next year, so he's definitely running like he's looking for a big contract next season. He's not taking any risks. So I don't really love the Steelers this week, but if there was one prop that I was going to take, it's going to be Pat Freiermuth over 35 or 36.5 receiving yards. That's really the only positive thing that I have going for this team this week, because I'm telling you, I'm not going to be betting on it personally, but I would take Ravens by double digits.
Really?
Yes.
Ben, what do you got? I disagree, but Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, I actually see it different. I think you're being a little too hard on yourself there, Jammer, with your team. I think you're kind of setting yourself up for an emotional letdown. Honestly, I really do think you are, because I really think that the Steelers team is built to play a team like the Ravens. They're a pass funnel defense. We saw what happened when they played a few weeks ago, and it was a close game, but they limited Lamar almost better than anyone else in the league. And Derrick Henry only had 65 yards. Like, they just did not really allow them to get their run game going, and they only scored 16 points in the process. So I think that this defense is actually built to kind of stop them. And I know the TJ Watt thing it's a big injury, but he's still playing. And I know you said he might be 75% or whatever, but they still have a defense. Like, I know he's a big part of it and he's going to be out there, but they have other guys other than him. He carries the defense when he's out, like you can see it, but he is still playing. So even if he's not 100%. So I still think that their defense is going to be able to do a lot of the same things that they did well in the first meeting of the season. And you look back to the series, I mean, in the last 9 games, the Steelers have won 8 of them. And in the one loss, it was a very, very close 2-point loss. So they haven't lost a game by nearly a touchdown in a long time. And I think a lot of people are seeing what the Steelers did last week against the Eagles, and they're kind of putting a lot of weight into that without George Pickens. And I know they're without George Pickens again, but now you're going to the Ravens secondary from the Eagles secondary. The Eagles have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Like, that was a really, really tough matchup for Russ and the Steelers. Now you're going to what arguably is a bottom 5 secondary in the NFL. And then, offensively, Lamar is going to have to pass in this game. And now he's down to probably Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and then Zay Flowers as his options, because Alpha already brought up the wide receiver injuries. And then you have Deontay Johnson, who's not going to be playing in this game. So, without those big players for them, they're kind of down to not too many options for him in a game he's going to have to pass. We're going to have to see Lamar have to pass in this game. So I actually think this is a pretty good matchup for the Steelers once again. And I think they kind of win this one, lock up the division, because like you said, if they win this game, they win the division. And then they play Wednesday against the Chiefs. I think they're going to kind of actually try to win this game and then punt that Chiefs game. So that's how I see it.
I don't think they're going to punt any game with Mike Tomlin.
Well, they're not going to punt the game, but
this game means more.
Eggs in this basket.
This game means more.
But
could not agree more that this
you can't punt with Hard Knocks on your ass the entire week.
It's true. I also think that, guys, with this game here, that the Steelers are going to be able to compete. The Ravens haven't exactly shown that they're the greatest team in the world. They're a very good football team, but you're not going to have Rashad Bateman. You don't have Deontay Johnson. Nelson Aguilar is going to be banged up. Their receiving weapons are going to be pretty banged and bruised in this game. I think they're going to have to run a ton in this game. And what do the Steelers do very well? Stop the run. They have a great defensive line. I think they will be able to contain the Ravens here. And taking a look at the Ravens' last 6 ball games, they're a 500 ball club. They're 3-3. They really haven't been beating the brakes off teams. I mean, last week they beat the New York Giants. Congratulations. A team with JD at quarterback, me at center, and Jammer at starting tight end would beat the Giants as well. They lost to the Eagles. That was a good game. They beat the Chargers. Good win, but Herbert was very banged up in that game. They lost to the Steelers. They barely beat the Bengals by 1 before that. So they haven't really shown me too much to want to make them a touchdown favorite in any game. The Steelers do compete. Mike Tomlin always has them dialed in. Give me the Steelers plus the 6.5. I don't think they win this game. I truthfully don't. But I think this one will come down to the wire. It's an individual conference game. Both teams need to win this game, and it will be close. That's how these individual games go. So give me the plus 6.5. I absolutely love that play this week. JD, break down what you got, and then after you do, I have an MLB free agency signing to announce.
All right, here. Looking at what y'all said, and then actually looking at the chat here, my take is not going to be liked very, very much here. But basically what actually Jammer said, was like, I like see this game like just actually like he does here. As we can tell from the past few weeks, the Steelers offense runs through one certain guy, and that guy is not going to be on the field. This game to me is going to be nothing like the actual game they played. What was that? 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago now?
4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think this game is going to look nothing. It's going to look nothing actually like that. I've like done a big like deep dive, and it has been on the actual like Ravens side. So this is not a Steelers me talking down on like them today. This is me being very high on this other side. This actual Ravens defense, we've like talked about it the whole entire year about how they're like so bad. And I've been looking at it more, and I don't think they're as bad as we have said they are. I really think over these next few weeks, we're going to see them round actually into form more here. And if that happens, every other team needs to watch out. Because this is going to be the team to actually beat. We actually talked about it, I think, on Monday. And I've changed up everything now. I think as far as the Super Bowl, I think that is it's actually as far as the AFC goes, we're going to see the Ravens, and actually we're going to see the Chiefs. And I think when we see that game, the Ravens are actually going to be favored there.
Yeah.
And actually then I think they actually win. And then as far as the Super Bowl, they have a very good shot there. So as far as the Ravens, I've kind of changed up here, and I'm going kind of like all like in there. So to me, this is a clear Raven spot. I'm definitely going to lay the points. I'm gonna have a lot of Ravens here. I'm actually going to like parlay them with actually like a few other plays. I'm going to lay the spread here. For me this week is going to be a Ravens week.
There we go. All right, guys. So the one before we move to the next,
a cluck bet.
It definitely should be.
It's a 2v2.
I'm not in on this.
Come on, Jerry, you have to go in against your Steelers.
I am in a Steelers gear. There's no way I'm betting against them.
You just told us the Steelers.
You said they were going to win by double digits.
I'm trying to make other people money. I'm not putting my life.
Whoa! Wait a second.
All right, so I mean, it's definitely not going to be me and Ben versus JD because I'm not taking
Come on
the burden
now.
of this guy does nothing but lose these. I'm not partnering with him on this game. Absolutely not.
You're on a losing streak, Alpha.
Ben, you down? I'm down with you, Ben. The two losers versus the winner on the last week. You in?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Screw you, JD. Me and Ben are coming, baby. Get ready to clock next week. Steelers by 90. All right, guys, before we go into the next game, I do want to quickly talk about the free agency move. You guys know all week, whenever any signings come up, anything that's come up on the show, I always break the news and try to get you guys it before it's like massively out there. Looks like Christian Walker, who's probably the best first baseman on the market, is going to be signing with the Houston Astros. They're in advanced talks. Whenever these get posted, they always do tend to get done. Does look like Christian Walker is going to be the new big addition for the Houston Astros, which also means Alex Bregman, the free agent, will not be returning to the Houston Astros. That's at least what everyone's saying. With the money there, they won't be able to afford him. So that's the big news in the baseball world today. Let's keep it moving, fellas, because we still have 3 games to go over, and it's already after 12:30. So let's keep it moving. Next game we're getting into is going to be the Eagles taking on the Commanders. The Eagles are 12-2 on the year, 6-1 on the road, going into Washington and taking on a 9-5 Commanders team that is 5-2 at home. Let's quickly take a look at the injuries. For the Eagles, Landon Dickerson, it's probably their best lineman, is a true questionable. A.J. Brown, true questionable as well. And Sidney Brown, the safety, is the true questionable. Bryce Huff, the D-end, is out on IR. And Dallas Goedert is obviously on IR as well. On the other side, it's a plethora of questionables for the Commanders. Jeremy Chin, their safety. Cleveland Farrell. Cleveland Farrell was like a top 5 pick. Boy, that guy's been a bust. He's a true questionable. John Bates and Zach Ertz, both tight ends, true questionables. And Deron Payne, one of their better young interior defenseman, is a questionable as well. Ben, I don't think we've started with you today. What do you like in the Eagles Commanders?
No, we have not started with me today. And actually, I know it's a divisional game, and I don't usually like doing this in late season divisional games, but I'm going to be taking the over in this game, 45.5. You just mentioned it with some injuries there for the Commanders, already not that great of a defense. And then now you add in the fact that they're up against one of the top-rated offenses in the league, with the top rushing offense with a banged-up D-line. So I really think that even though usually with a run-heavy game plan, you think under, but I think it's going to be explosive runs. I think they're going to keep the ball moving. And while the clock will be moving, I think they're going to score enough here. Because 45.5, it just doesn't feel high enough for me in this one. I think this game's going to see 50 points. You have this Commanders offense that hasn't been able to really stop the run this year. And in the first meeting of the year, I know it only ended with 44 points, but it felt like it could have been a lot more than that with the Commanders offense against the Philadelphia Eagles, who do have a really good secondary. But I think that Jaden Daniels is going to use his legs a lot more in this matchup, and we're actually going to see him run a bit more in this one because he only had 18 rushing yards in the first matchup. And I think he's going to use his legs a little bit more in this one. They're going to adjust. They're going to score some more. And we got really close in that first one. It was at 44. So I think this one we'll see a little more high scoring as we come down the end.
Ben, I don't know why the hell I let you go first. Because I'm also on the over 45.5. All the points I wanted to make, you said pretty perfectly there. I agree with you 1,000%, bro. I think this game is comfortably going to go over. I think these offenses have both improved. I think both defenses are a little banged up. They've kind of given up some points lately. I mean, you take a look right now at the most recent games for the Commanders. There were 39 points in the Commanders versus the Saints last week. I have to think there's going to be at least 10 more points than that one. The game before, the Commanders scored 42 points alone against the Titans and gave up 19 in that one. The week before, 34-26 against Dallas. We all saw that game. That was unbelievable. There were no starters basically playing for Dallas, and Dallas still put up 34 against them. The week before, that's the game Ben was just talking about, 26-18. And the week before was a 28-27 game against Pittsburgh. So we're seeing high totals in these. I do believe the total is a little too low for this one. I won't take up any more time. Give me the over 45.5. JD, we're going to go to you, and then we'll close with Jammer on this one. What do you got?
All right. Well, just to save a little bit of time, just take everything actually y'all said. And then as far as the model goes, it actually has this at 48, point actually 5.
You're going to say do the opposite.
Me too. I thought that was coming too.
No.
Let's go.
No. This is a game that I actually need to spend a little bit more time with. But yeah, the over to me makes a lot of sense here. Makes a lot of sense. I will say, as far as the Eagles, I actually have been on them now for like weeks because I just thought like the number on them has just been short. And this week, I think that has finally flipped. This actual week, the Eagles, as far as value, I am not showing any there. As far as the actual like Commander side, I'm showing a little bit of value there, but not enough to really actually jump in. But actually, yeah, to me, the over actually makes sense. So
I love it. I love it. Jammer.
So we all know the Commanders had a hot start to the season, but that was all because of their strength of schedule. Second easiest schedule in the NFL. For me, I think this is the first step to the Commanders losing that wild card playoff spot. I know they have an easy schedule to end the season, but this is the first one that's just kind of you're going to take away that confidence that they have in their rookie quarterback, not leading into the future, but just for this season in general. I think that the Eagles just go in there and just sweep the floor with them. So I'm all over the Eagles minus 3.5. They're going to dominate time of possession. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. And hopefully we get to see some Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, squash that beef that they got going on. I'm all over the Eagles -3.5.
You don't think the Commanders are going to make the playoffs with 9 wins already, and they still have 2 games remaining? One of them after this week. They play the Falcons, who
They have an easy
and they
schedule.
play the Cowboys, who you don't think they're going to get in?
Hey, JD, tell them all about Michael Penix Jr. Tell them all
Michael
Michael.
Right? But you really don't think they're going to get in?
No, I'm telling you, this is going to be the first game. That's it's going to be the first step to them losing that spot to either the Seahawks or someone who's behind them.
Well, yeah, I was going to say
Very
there's only one spot left because you have the Packers and Vikings who are pretty much locked in there. I mean, pretty much, not 100%. Well, the Vikings are, the Packers aren't. But yeah, the
I was
Seahawks.
going to say, wait, why would the Packers have a better chance than them right there? I mean, they're 10-4, but I do think that it's going to be the Packers. I think it's going to be the Commanders, and I think it's probably going to be the Rams. But continue.
What about the Vikings?
Vikings are good, and I apologize. Vikings, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Vikings are locked in. Packers are pretty much locked in. 100.
Y'all could win the division, too. You might not be the wild card team. You guys could win the division.
That would be awesome. But, yeah, I mean, then either way, it's the Lions. So, actually, Commanders kind of do have to win. Like, he makes a good point. You got an 8-6. You have 2. Yeah, I mean, Seahawks.
It's a bold prediction because they have a very easy schedule to end the season, but who knows, man?
Remember, Seahawks play Vikings this week, which we will be getting into in a minute. But that's tough.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, actually, because they're losing for sure.
Well, when we get to my play, that's going to lead into something for sure. I agree with you there. But yes, absolutely. Everyone's gone over this game. Any props we want to give on this game either? No props. All right.
Well, actually, I was going to say, if anything, I don't hate a little Jaden Daniels rushing action. I don't know what his updated line is at, but I'm going to get it right now. It's at 40.5. Actually, that's a little high. Never mind. It's a little high for me. I don't like it.
I agree with you there. Before we go into the next game, we were just talking a little bit about Michael Penix. Anyone taking the Giants money line this week? No.
We're about to see a big game.
We're moving on.
No, you guys want that Shedeur Sanders pick, baby.
I don't, but I understand what you mean by that. All right, let's continue. Next game we're going into is going to be that game we kind of just alluded to. Minnesota Vikings traveling to Seattle, taking on the 12th man, which is that really even a thing anymore? Let's break this one down. Vikings coming in 12-1 the year. They are 5-1 on the road, going into Seattle, which is supposed to be one of the top 5 hardest places to play. However, the Seahawks this year are a road team. They're 8-6 on the year, but they're 3-5 at home. So this team is winning a ton of games on the road. They've been much better on the road, which means they are 5-1 this year on the road. Ben, I'm not even going to go through my normal injury report, not go through any of that. This is your team, your game. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so, I mean, it feels like the last few weeks people are expecting that famous Vikings letdown near the end of the season, but we haven't seen it yet. It could be here on the road. It's just I don't necessarily see it. I feel like we're obviously going to lose one of these last few games to close out, but I feel like it's going to be one of those big divisional matchups.
I was going to say, probably not this one if I had to guess.
Yeah,
compared to the others.
This doesn't feel like that big loss for them. It's definitely going to be one of these divisional matchups coming up. They're kind of hitting their stride right now. The last time they faced a banged-up, aging quarterback, they won 42-21 against Kirk Cousins 2 weeks ago. So you have another guy, Geno Smith, who is expected to play, but has that lingering knee injury against the most blitz-heavy team in the NFL by far, and it's not even really that close. These guys just blitz basically every play. There's going to be pressure on Geno Smith. He takes one more low hit, he could be out for the game, which you never want to wish for an injury or anything. I'm just making it a point because it's definitely possible that with him aging, coming off this knee injury, looking like he's trying to force it in this game, we could see Sam Howell in this game, which, Sam Howell's whatever. He's not horrible. It's just Geno Smith's third in the NFL right now. He's been slinging it this year. So
I was going to say, you're really shitting on Geno here, and he hasn't been that bad.
No, I'm saying if he goes out of this game, it's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Because he has that lingering knee injury. Like, if he's out of this game and you put Sam Howell in, I automatically think this is going to degrade a lot for them because Geno Smith's actually been pretty good this year. He's third in passing yards now at this point in the season. But 34, lingering knee injury, blitz-heavy team. I don't think this is going to go well for the Seahawks offense. You do have Kenneth Walker coming back, but I still don't think it's enough. I think the Vikings win this one and lose probably, 2 of the last remaining games.
There we go. I'll jump in next. I'm on the Vikings here, guys, and I'm taking them on the money line. I'm definitely not taking this 3.5-point line, but I am going to be taking them on the money line, and I will be going over the team I'm taking with them with on the next one that we break down because that's the team I'm parlaying them with. So I will get to that when we get to that game. But speaking about the Vikings in this spot, Ben put it perfectly. They're going to be blitzing all freaking game. And there's a lot of injuries on the Seahawks side, including Geno Smith, including Zach Charbonnet, including Kenneth Walker. A lot of their main guys that they need are very banged up. Their defense is banged up as well. Ernest Jones, their linebacker, looks like he's not going to go. Travis Gibson, another linebacker, he's hurt. And Trey Brown, one of their corners, another guy who I don't think is going to be able to go. So there's a lot of injuries for the Seahawks team. I think the Vikings are able to put them away. But like I said, I'm not comfortable taking them on that 3.5. I definitely like the money line more, and I'll go over the partner for that money line when we go to that game next. JD, what you got?
Yeah, we keep talking about this Vikings team and the spot where it's going to be to fade them.
Yep.
And man, I thought this was going to be the spot. I really did. But actually, just like y'all have said, Seahawks are banged up bad. Alpha, you listed off so many people there. I actually believe their center also.
Yeah.
He's actually probably going to be out. There's just no way that I can touch this actual side here. Now, just like you said, laying it. Wait, what is that? 3.5?
Yep.
Or is that
3.5?
3.5. Yeah, I just can't get myself
down to 3. I apologize. It was 3.5 pre-show. It's now down to a 3 flat.
If I don't see this happening, but if it would get to a 2.5, then I would definitely actually jump in here. But I just don't see that being a thing though. So yeah, for me, this is just a easy pass.
Jammer.
So this is what I'm thinking we're going to see this week.
Wow.
We're going to see a sad.
For anybody that doesn't know, that is a picture of Ben very upset at a Vikings game that made ESPN last season.
That was 2022. Oh, wait, no, that was last year. You're right. Yeah.
Don't doubt me, Ben.
That was against the Bears at home. Jordan Addison drops a sideline catch that he should have made late in the game, and I was sitting behind the Bears bench because I'm married to a Bears fan, so we were sitting there, and it was disheartening. It really was. It was a tough season.
I will say I am proud that I was the one that went on to the ESPN Instagram account and saw that photo and sent it to you. So you're welcome for finding that wonderful photo of you that I sent to you. But Jammer, continue.
So yeah, I mean, I was kind of alluding to it earlier. This is kind of the first step to kicking those Commanders out of the playoffs, and I think that we see this line at -3. What are the Vikings sitting at? 12-2, 11-2, whatever it is. Like, it's just kind of screaming for you to take the Vikings because of all the injuries that you guys listed for the Seahawks. We all know Geno and Kenneth Walker are both hobbling around, but they're full practice.
Charbonnet and Charbonnet now.
But the coaching is telling us that they're getting a full practice in. They think that they're healthy enough to go for this game, and you got to believe them. You got to believe in that 12th man at home. We've all seen the Vikings play well outdoors, but it's different up there in Seattle.
You're right.
In front of that home crowd and in that weather. So for me, I'm going to be on the Seahawks. It's not going to be a best bet, but I think that this is going to be the first stepping stone to getting those Commanders out and the Seahawks in.
There we go. There we go. We'll have to see what happens here. Any props on this game before we keep it moving?
I got no props on this game.
Negativo. Let's keep it rolling, boys. Final game we're breaking down today is going to be the Sunday Night Football game between the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Dallas Cowboys. Tampa Bay Bucks, after what we saw from the Chargers last night, their win last night, the Bucks looks even better. The Bucks are coming in winners of 4 consecutive games. Only one of those games was rather close. That was at Carolina, where they won 26-23 in overtime. But last week, 40-17 over the Chargers. They beat up on the Raiders. I don't need to go into anything like that. Everyone beats up on the Raiders right now. And just like how everyone beats up on the Raiders, they also beat up on the New York Football Giants. So 2 of those wins taken with a grain of salt. But their other 2 wins were quite impressive. On the other side, the Cowboys. They were underdogs last week against Carolina. They said, screw you to Vegas, screw you to the odds makers. They destroyed the Panthers 30-14. Week before, they did lose to the Bengals in a heartbreaking fashion. I believe that was Monday Night Football, 27-20. Week before, they beat the Giants 27-20, and that's kind of the recent form that they have been in. Let's go over the injury report for the Buccaneers. It's half their offense. Trey Palmer, Sterling Shepard, Cade Otton, Bucky Irvich. I don't need to explain who any of those guys are to any of you. They are all true game-time decisions, as well as linebacker KJ Britt. On the other side, a bunch of injuries for this Cowboys defense. We all know that they will be missing Trayvon Diggs for the year. Jordan Lewis is also another good corner for them. He's a true questionable who I don't think is going to play. Nick Vigil, one of their linebackers, questionable as well. Mozzie Smith, very strong defensive tackle, questionable. And Jalen Brooks, the receiver, is questionable. One player they did lose, DeMarvion Overshown, who's been an absolute beast for this Cowboys defense, is going to be out for the year. He is on IR. JD, Final breakdown of the day. I got to go to you. What do you got?
Yeah, man. Like actually, like that's a huge loss there for them. Like that was their defense. Like that was the guy that was getting everybody pumped up.
Yep.
He was just out there flying around like he was that dude. So that like injury, like that is seriously a big loss. And last week they like did look really good, but guess what? The Bucks are not the fucking Carolina Panthers.
Not even close.
Not even close.
You ain't lying.
Because I mean, like we need to really talk about this. We need to talk about how like good this Bucks team really is. Because like we've like kind of talked about it, but like now I think we like really need to talk about it. Because as far as their offense goes, I mean, you're actually looking at top 5 here. I mean, like they're actually that good.
Baker's the real deal. Baker's the real deal. What is it? 32 touchdowns on the year to only 14 interceptions. That's a hell of a lot of touchdowns. And remember, Mike Evans was out for over half the year.
Very true. You know what? I'm going to keep this one simple here. As far as the Bucks side, I actually like definitely have to actually lean there. But as far as the Bucks, as far as their team total goes, to me, this just looks very low. I can get a 26.5 at actually minus 105. This is one of those games where I see them putting up more in like the 31 range here.
I could see that, absolutely.
So for me, this is the best bet, and actually this is going to be a big play.
There we go. I absolutely love it. I'll jump in here next. I'll be short and sweet. I told you guys last game I was parlaying the last one with this one. So it's the Vikings, and I'm sure you could figure out who the partner is going to be. It's the Tampa Bay Bucks here. I agree with JD. I think no matter what, the Bucks are going to pull this one out. And guys, that money line parlay is currently at a plus 145. It's one of my favorite plays of the weekend. So yet again, it's the Vikings money line parlayed with the Bucks money line. I just think this Cowboys defense is going to get torched by Baker Mayfield and this passing offense. Also, guys, the Cowboys have one win at home this season. They are 1-6 at home. They're home again this week. That one win, you know who it was against?
The New York Giants.
Can't take anything away from that. We all know that. So the Cowboys have not been good at home. I fully expect Tampa Bay to go in there, show how much better they are, and pull out the victory. Give me the parlay with the Bucks and the Minnesota Vikings. Jammer, what you got?
So I'm all over the Bucks here.
Okay.
I was down in Tampa last week watching the Steelers-Eagles game. Obviously, another corner of the bar had the Chargers-Bucks game on, and I was just constantly hearing big and cheering from the other side of the bar. And just every time I look up, the Buccaneers are scoring.
It was Mike Evans walking in
again. This could be a top 5 offense with Baker Mayfield over there. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like every 5 minutes they're over there cheering for something, a fumble, interception, touchdown.
Nuts.
So they're an exciting team to watch. They got a great defense, and that 1-2 punch at running back with Rashad and Bucky is kind of scary. But this Dallas Cowboys defense is very penetrable, both from passing and rushing. So for me, I think I'm going to have to take the Buccaneers on the -4 on the road. I do like their team total that JD brought up. That 26.5 just seems too low, especially against this spongy defense of the Cowboys. So I do like Mike Evans over 5.5 receptions. I just think he's Baker's #1 target. They're going to try and feed him. And, so give me the Bucks -4 and that Mike Evans over 5.5 receptions.
Love it. Ben?
Yeah, so I'll make mine short and sweet as well. I do think the Bucks probably win, but I really don't give a shit about the side. I'm looking at a prop here, and you can get Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdowns, still with pretty decent juice at -135. I understand there's some offensive injuries, but we're talking about a Dallas defense that you guys, Alpha brought it up, super banged up, especially in the secondary, which is where Baker's going to want to attack. And Mike Evans has been going absolutely unreal the last few weeks. And I'm also glad that Alpha brought up the other point I was going to make. Baker Mayfield is having quietly a really, really good season. I feel like it's not talked about that much. 32 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, third in the NFL in passing touchdowns, up there with the list of the best quarterbacks we've been talking about this year. And you just look at this Dallas team playing at home. They've had some very, very high-scoring games at home. They've given up a lot of points, just have not looked the same this year. I can't help but think they're not really going to get up for this game. Yes, they beat Carolina last week, and New York was their last win before that. But other than that, their home games have been very high-scoring, and they've really struggled. And Baker now with Mike Evans back has looked unreal once again. I think that he hits 2 touchdowns in this game fairly easily, especially with that Bucky injury, because you're talking about a run game being banged up. He can beat you through the air, and he's been doing it all season. So he's hit 15 touchdown passes in his last 7 games. I believe he's going to get 2 in this one, at least 2.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely think you're right. And fellas, it's going to wrap it up for our breakdowns today, but there's still several things that we do on this show, so don't leave quite yet. You know there's a few things we still have to go over. And first, we're going to go over the current promotion for Moneyball Metrics. Guys, all access, get all the plays from the cappers in Moneyball Metrics for the low rate of $39 per month. You'll be locked into that rate. Make sure you guys get in there. Come win with us. If you were in there yesterday, I believe JD would have turned that $39 into over $200 alone just yesterday. Come in the Discord, have fun with us, and come win with the best community out there. Fellas, now we have one last thing we have to do on the show. And y'all know what it is. We are going into NFL edition Moneyball Metrics Best Bets. Ben, do you have 1? Do you have 2? Do you have 98? How many do you have for the people?
I have 3 for you guys today, not 98. Sorry. My first one would be the Steelers. I believe in the Fighting Jammers, even when Jammer doesn't believe in the Steelers. Wow, that was a mouthful.
Someone's got to.
Rev me up, Ben. Rev me up.
Plus 6.5.
JD.
I think that they are going to win this game outright. I'm saying it now. And then Eagles Commanders over 45.5. Love this spot. I think we see some good offense from both sides in that game. And then finishing it off with the prop that I just talked about 30 seconds ago. Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Those are my 3 best bets.
There we go. I'll jump in here second. Gentlemen, Ben, I'm joining you, bro. You know I'm going to be all over these Steelers plus the 6.5. Second play, I'm doing the parlay. The Minnesota Bens, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Tampa Bay Bucks on the money line parlay plus 145. Ben, I can't wait to get on here next week, stare at JD, and watch that beautiful cluck of his. Let's win, brother. JD,
you better practice.
JD, break us down. What do you have for best bets?
Well, my first best bet is going to be the Ravens. The Ravens at actually minus 6.5 points. But also, give me another bet here. Give me the Ravens at minus 12.5 points at a 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, love actually that one. And then let's go to that last game that we talked about. And this probably is actually my favorite bet of the week. Give me the Bucks. Give me their team total over. You can get a 26.5 at actually minus 105.
Let's go. I love the Bucks this week. Jammer, close us out. What you got?
So Alpha and Ben, man,
line.
I'm really hoping that the Steelers can pull it out for you, but I'm feeling like it's going to be a rough one for our boys. So
this guy doesn't know our Steelers, Ben. He doesn't know the Steelers like me and you, baby.
I hope they don't make you cluck 2 weeks in a row, man. I'm rooting for you guys.
Me too. Me too.
But I'll get into my best bets. I got 3 for you guys. In that Steelers game, I'm liking wide receiver 1, Pat Freiermuth, over 35.5 receiving yards. George Pickens goes down. Pat Freiermuth steps up. Him over 35.5 has got to be a lock. The Philadelphia Eagles, I'm telling you, this might be the best team in the NFL. Time of possession, line of scrimmage. That's always the biggest thing for me. So I think that they're going to absolutely dominate both those factions of the game. So I'm taking a minus 3.5. And the last one for me, Houston Texans plus 3.5. Giving the Chiefs that second loss of the season. I know that the Texans are on the road, but this is going to be that stepping stone to give them that confidence going into the playoffs. Give me the Texans plus 3.5.
I respect it. I respect it. Let me put up the graphic. Let everybody get your phone out. Take your screenshots. Here are going to be all of our plays. If I can find it in 1 second, which I can. And there we go. Screenshots. Jammer, only I can see you taking the picture through here. No one can see it. But and for everyone to know, he is taking the picture of the bets. You can see what they are. There's too many for us to read. I'm going to leave it up for another minute. But, guys, I'm going to put up another best bet today. We have to give him credit. We don't do it often on this show. It's everybody's favorite grandfather. We have Footy. Footy gave out a Chelsea team total over winner yesterday. So, Footy, the spotlight is back to you. Harry Kane to score and Bayern to win at minus 130. Let's get it. I tailed you yesterday. Threw 100 bones on it. Made me, I think it was 92 bones. So, thank you very much. I'll roll that over, and I will tail you on the Harry Kane as well. Fellas, I think that's enough time for everyone to be able to get the screenshots of our plays. Ben, I'm going to switch it up this week. Do you have any parting words for the people? We're going reverse today.
Guys, have a very Merry Christmas. Even though I'm going to see you Monday before Christmas, I'm going to tell you early anyway because it's the Christmas season. I'm listening to
We
Christmas
love that.
music in the shower. Merry Christmas, everyone.
I love that. Jammer.
I'm going to be more inclusive than Ben here. I'm going to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
I said and Happy Holidays.
I must have
Very
missed that
good.
part.
Very good. The king of Let's Fucking Win. What do you have for the people, JD?
Yeah, today is Friday. The weekend is finally here. Next week, I know actually like a lot of people have actually next week off. So it's going to be a great time. You're going to see me next week coming from lots of places. I'm not really sure where I'm even going to be.
Nobody knows where JD is going to be at the current moment next week.
Nope, nobody does. But I am not going to be here, though.
True that.
I do know that one. But yeah, guys, as far as tomorrow's slate, it is a great slate of action ball. It's going to be a great time. And we're going to do what we always do. We're going to fucking win.
Let's fucking win, everyone. We appreciate everyone from tuning with us. Let's win all of our football bets. Grandpa Footy, I hope you hit that soccer bet. And everyone, we will see you next week. We appreciate every single one, like I said. Peace!